Alright, today's lesson is going to be our second day of real-world application and using fraction multiplication in order to solve problems with recipes. Alright, so check out this recipe that we have here for green eggs and ham. This recipe calls for 1 teaspoon of olive oil, 4 eggs, 2/3 of a cup of spinach, half of a cup of zucchini, 1/3 of a cup of avocado, 1/4 of a pound of ham, salt and pepper, and green food coloring. So you are going to need to write down all these ingredients in your notebook now. Pause the video so you can do that. Alright, so this green eggs and ham recipe is enough for 4 people, but we just need enough for 1 person. So how can we figure that out? Well, let's draw our model here. Let's pretend that this is a pan of the green eggs and ham after it's cooked. And it feeds 4 people, which means that there are 4 servings here. If we only need 1 of those 4 servings, that means that we only need 1/4 of a serving. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply all of our ingredients here by 1/4 to get a new, smaller recipe. So we're going to solve these together right now. Alright, so let's start with our teaspoon of olive oil. I have 1 times 1/4. Well, anytime we multiply by a whole number, we're going to put that number over 1 and multiply straight across. 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 4 is 4, which means that we will need 1/4 of a teaspoon of olive oil. 4 eggs times 1/4. Put that over 1. 4 times 1 is 4, and 1 times 4 is 4, which is 4/4. This is also known as 1 whole, so we only need 1 egg. Are you staying with me so far? Good. 2/3 of a cup of spinach times 1/4. 2 times 1 is 2, and 3 times 4 is 12. I'm looking here at this fraction, 2/12, and I hope a bell or a buzzer is going off in your head right now. And you're saying to yourself, wait. We can simplify. If I divide both the top and the bottom by 2, I will get 1/6. And remember, we always simplify if we can. So we will only need 1/6 of a cup of spinach. Alright, moving on to the zucchini, we have half of a cup of spinach times 1/4. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 4 is 8. So we need 1/8 of a cup of spinach. Or zucchini, I'm sorry. Alright, 1/3 of a cup of avocado times 1/4. This is 1/12. So I need 1/12 of a cup. And then my ham, which I'm going to do over here. I have 1/4 of a pound of ham times 1/4 of a serving gives me 1/16. So I need 1/16 of a pound of ham. Not that bad, right? Alright, so that was a great job. Let's take the original recipe again. And now we need to feed 2 people. So let's go back to our model here. This is our pan of finished cooked green eggs and ham. And in that pan we have 4 servings. Now we need 2 servings, which means that we have 2 out of 4. Or if you can recognize from the model, this is also known as 1/2. That's the equivalent fraction here. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply all of these ingredients in this recipe by 1/2. Pause the video now and solve to figure out what our new smaller recipe would be, and then replay the video to watch me solve it with you. Alright, hopefully you've paused the video. Now let's go through this and see our finished product. 1 teaspoon of olive oil times 1/2 gives us 1/2. So we need half of a teaspoon of olive oil. 4 eggs times 1/2. You might already be saying to yourself, well, I know that 1/2 of 4 is 2, but if I wanted to write out my steps, I'd put this over 1. 4 times 1 is 4, and 2 times 1 is 2. And then I would need to change this into a mixed number or a whole number. And 2 can go into 4 exactly 2 times. See how that works? It works both ways. So I would only need 2 eggs. Okay, 2/3 of a cup of spinach times 1/2. 2 times 1 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. And I can simplify this to 1/3. See how I did that so quickly? Hopefully you can do it that quickly too. So I need 1/3 of a cup of spinach. 1/2 of a cup of zucchini times 1/2. 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4. So I need 1/4 of a cup. I have 1/3 of a cup of avocado times 1/2. I get 1/6. So I need 1/6 of a cup of avocado. And the ham is 1/4 times 1/2, which is 1/6. Or sorry, 1/8. I don't know why I said 6. So I get 1/8 of a pound of ham. Alright, so look over these answers. Hopefully this is the same thing that you got and you showed all of your work on the paper, because there's no way that you'd be able to do all of that in your head and get all those correct answers. Alright, so let's look at this new recipe here. This recipe is for cookies and it makes 3 dozen cookies, but we only need to make 18 cookies. How do we do that? Well, first of all, we need to figure out what a dozen cookies are. So maybe you have some background knowledge and you already know what a dozen cookies are. Maybe you know what a dozen eggs, or maybe like a dozen donuts. A dozen equals 12. So if I have 3 dozen, 12 times 3 is 36. So 3 dozen cookies is 36 cookies. And I only need to make 18. Well, if you're quick with your multiplication facts, you might have noticed that 18 times 2 is 36. So 18 is exactly half of 36. If you didn't know that, you could have also drawn a model with 36 little cookies on your model. Probably take you a while to draw out. And then you could shade in 18 of those cookies, and you would probably notice that it's exactly half of the pan of cookies. Alright, so what does this mean for us then, that 18 is half of 3 dozen cookies? Well, this means that we need to multiply our recipe by 1/2 in order to get our smaller recipe to make less cookies. So right now you are going to pause your video and you're going to find your new smaller version of your recipe, and then when you replay the video, I am going to give you the answers for you to compare your work to. Alright, get to it. Alright, so here are our answers. So after you half the whole recipe, you would need 1/2 cup of flour, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 cup of butter, 1/6 cup of brown sugar, 1/6 cup of regular sugar, and 1/2 an egg. How did you do? Hopefully you did well. Alright, great work today. It is now time to show what you know. Go to Canvas, take your quiz. You are going to be given parts of a recipe that you will need to decrease in order to serve to the right amount of people, just like what we did today. Make sure that you're referring back to your notes if you need to. Alright?